When news about the smallpox virus started to surface, many people understandably became concerned. Are we facing a second pandemic after COVID-19? We've already spent 2 years in lockdown. Businesses were closed, and we lost much of our assets and income. Will we have to go through another lockdown? Could smallpox, or mpox as it's now called by the World Health Organization, become a global pandemic? In medicine, nothing is ever 100% certain, but for the reasons I'll explain, I think the chances of this virus becoming as widespread as COVID-19 are low. First, let's look at the history of pandemics. Leaving aside the Black Death of the Middle Ages, the pandemics we've seen since the 1900s have mostly been related to respiratory diseases. For example, the infamous 1918 flu pandemic, the bird flu outbreak, and of course, the COVID-19 pandemic. All of these were caused by respiratory viruses. This made them much easier to spread. COVID-19 was caused by an RNA virus, which could mutate very quickly. Even if a vaccine or treatment was developed, the virus could change rapidly, making the treatment less effective. However, the smallpox virus, or mpox, is a DNA virus, which doesn't mutate as quickly as RNA viruses. This is why the smallpox vaccine and existing treatments are still largely effective. One of the key characteristics of smallpox is that its symptoms are more apparent. The likelihood of asymptomatic cases is lower. Compared to COVID-19, smallpox symptoms include skin rashes, muscle aches, headaches, back pain, fever, and fatigue. Therefore, it's easier to identify and isolate infected individuals, which reduces the risk of transmission. Smallpox mainly spreads through direct skin-to-skin contact. It can be transmitted through sexual contact as well, and there is some risk of transmission during close face-to-face interactions, though this is less likely compared to COVID-19. In comparison to COVID-19, the transmission rate of the smallpox virus is lower. The smallpox vaccine, which was discontinued in the 1970s, is still known to provide protection. It's also effective if administered within the first 4 days after exposure, and in some cases, up to 14 days after exposure. The emergence of the smallpox virus is also interesting. It was first detected in 1958 in a lab in Denmark, in monkeys brought from Singapore. In 1978, the first human case was reported in a 9-month-old child in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The virus is believed to be transmitted from rodents rather than monkeys. Over the years, especially in regions like Nigeria and Central Africa, cases have increased. There are 2 types of this virus, one with a mortality rate below 1%, and the other with a rate around 10%. In recent years, particularly since 2022, the World Health Organization has been closely monitoring this virus. After seeing thousands of cases and hundreds of deaths in 2024, especially in Africa and Europe, a global alert was issued.